rock on. Let's get a little frisson. I mean, I basically felt it. It started with goosebumps on my arms. Just when you were describing it, it came up my arms and up my back, and I did that little shake, and my neck popped. And let's get frisson.
Yeah, it's beautiful, brother. Again, it's fascinating, and that is an actual word in musicology that is sought. Musicians seek that. By the way, again, to finish this aspect of the musicians' information, Llewellyn Lloyd published back in the 1940s in the uh, Royal Journal for the Arts and Royal Society of the Arts in Britain his condemnation of what we're talking about of A440. He also recommended tuning exactly like we're saying to 444. He said because if you don't do that, the top orchestra musicians, they'll start in A440, and because instinctively they know it's just not good energy, they begin to automatically tune up 4 hertz to 444. He says, so by the end of the concert, if you start it with a standard tuning, all of the musicians are kind of like out of tune towards the end. But if you start with A444, everybody's uplifted and everybody stays in harmony. And I guess a final note on this is what it is that's happening, and again, what it is that causes the miraculous repair of DNA and automatic healing with 528. It's the fact that it's called phase locking or coherence, that the energy that you're putting out in your instrument or your voice locks into God's voice, locks into the way the universe is constructed. It locks into the celebration that's ongoing in the botanical world with every blade of grass singing in 528, greenish yellow. This is what you're phase locking into. And so this is now a extremely simple but yet profound understanding of what it is that the Love 528 revolution is recommending. We're recommending going home. Home is where the heart is. Home is where the love is. That's where we're going. And, the Illuminati, it doesn't matter. They can kill themselves or they can just get on with the show like the rest of us.
Right. I mean, the ones that do survive this shift, under new management love, I've got a big job list for them, like plant several billion trees once again, and they could work in their organic gardens for another 10,000 years for us this time. Anyway, all right, going back to the scales. As I traveled to different parts of the world throughout the years, there was many different scales that are played, many different instruments that you don't really see in the Western states here. What did you find as far as where 528 originated and what type of scales are used?
Well, in the book of 528, I go into this concept that you can play in a diatonic scale or the chromatic scale. We're used to the further refinement, more of the man-made manipulation going into irrationality of the chromatic scale. It's really, in the Western world, we're using the chromatic scale in Tibet or in India, the ragas, all of these different natural musics, and in the Aboriginal communities, there are different scales, different instruments, and typically the Aboriginals have been vibing at 528 love the whole time. So your question, I think it goes beyond my expertise, but I can tell you that we probably would be wise to start experimenting with new, virtually old diatonics, which presents whole number ratios, rational notes, rational mathematics that bring us into harmony with, God's creative frequencies. And then the, concept that we're going to stay with the chromatic scale and the instruments that we have I don't expect we will. I really don't think that we will. I think that ultimately they're going to change. The instructions that we have for musicians, for synthesizers, the folks who have synthesizers, they have the Korg, and many of the synthesizers have the adjustments now in the devices so that you can adjust and you can recreate these types of diatonics and whole note ratios in your scales now. For pianos and pianists that are concerned, you should be. I would recommend that you consult with a Florida expert in piano tuning. His name is Daniel Kohler, and his work is also referenced in the book of 528. And he has rebuilt a number of pianos, and he took, for example, a Baldwin, an old burned-out Baldwin that some school had junked, and he rebuilt it, tuning it to A44 hertz, and then he used, because it's a little bit higher and more stressful on the strings, a granite bridge. And because he used that tuning, as I said earlier, this is going to put that frequency of that scale into harmony with the universe, so the sustain of the notes themselves would be expected to be dramatically increased, and indeed they were. He shows that his Baldwin exceeds a grand concert piano, a Steinway grand concert. I mean, like, the sustain is like magnitudes above what the Steinway is able to produce when you use this understanding. So Daniel Kohler is his name, and I know he's looking for support in manufacturing pianos based on his revelations and research. So I hope that answers your question.
It did, my brother. Thank you so very much. I'm so excited to get into the book of 528. I'm going to download it as soon as we get off. And also to share, since I've been tuning the flutes to 528, it's quite amazing. I mean, I noticed the difference right away, and I did this last one musical piece with 7 layers on the keyboard in low C and high C, and it's amazing effects. It basically took me out of my body into this euphoric state. I can't wait.
How beautiful. Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah,
awesome.
Can't wait to share.
So we have to carry that in the. We're going to be advancing 528 Mall, and the HealthyWorldStore.com already has a section for 528 products, and I'd love to get the flutes in there as soon as possible. Blue Star, it'd be wonderful.
I'm very honored. Thank you so much, my friend. I love you so much, and I really honor all the work that you've done in the musical field here, and also on the vaccine end of it, and getting information out there. It's really needed. Any last comments you'd like to share with the audience that we haven't gone over about the book of 528?
Again, I think it's what I said, going home to where the heart is. It's love, and the relationship that you have with God and a significant other or humanity is so vitally important. It's really the essence of what love and life is about. So you can expect the book of 528 to transform your life and view of reality in a very loving and a very uplifting way. The book is not for atheists. It's not for ultimately even pagans. The scientific community is challenged maximally by the book of 528. The religious communities are going to have to deal with what Jesus' primary message was. It's all about love, folks. And here's the math to prove it. So anything that takes you off of that, whether it's a doctrine or a dogma that condemns anybody else for anything, if you're out of sync with harmony and you're in dissonance with the fundamental message of Christ, which was love, then you've got a challenge. You've got certainly to come to terms with what it is that you're thinking or doing that's not in sync or alignment with the fact now that we've merged virtually science and theology in a cohesive matrix, if you will, that gives us a full understanding of how we got here, How do we manifest who we are, as a digital bio-holographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation of divine frequency vibration coming out of spirit water. Jesus used to call it spirit water in John 3. You can check that out. It's spirit water. And in the beginning there was the Creator, the water. Even before the Holy Spirit is mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 1:2, there was the water. So God and water are one. Water is 80% of your body. That makes you 80% God. And that is a fundamental shift in understanding that we now have proven mathematically to be true. And this is profound. It's a celebration. It's an emancipation proclamation for humanity's freedom from enslavement, from not only the Illuminati and the miseducation, but and the systems of academia that dumb us down instead of lift us up. This is a time in history that we can all just say, hallelujah.
Yeah, baby, and we deserve it. Our 10,000 years of peace and love. All right, Dr. Horowitz, thank you so much for all that you do. And as we join together, open our hearts, vibrating in the core of love, I love you so much.
Love you, Blue Star.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, for listening as well. And the book of 528.com, get it, share it, live it. Let's rock on in love. From the heart. Blessings, everyone.